Hi everyone, I'm Pete Wright with LexJet, and I'm joined today by Dave Rice. He's a senior manager at Canon. And today we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to mix it up and we're going to play a game called Truth or Fiction. So what we've got here is a stack of cards, and these are commonly made statements either at trade shows, from customers on the phone, things that we hear a lot of people say that may or may not be misconceptions about printing in the large format world, and specifically with Canon printers.
So you get to phone a friend or anything?
No phone a friend.
Okay.
There's no prize at the end. The only prize at the end is that the customers will have great information to help them make decisions on their printing purchase.
Okay, all right.
So
I'll do my best.
let's start off with a softball for you.
All right, a softball, good. Thank
Big
you.
printers are really hard to use.
Oh, that's total fiction, total fiction. You know, in all honesty, they're much like, in many cases, easier than your home desktop printer because the components are much larger. They work, simply by even like dropping in a print head into our printer in the initial setup. It takes you longer to take the print head out of the packaging than it does to put in the printer. Just loading ink cartridges in our media, you just drop it in, and you can walk away, and it automatically spins it up, detects the paper type, the length, everything fully automatic.
So we're going to have lots of questions about that kind of stuff coming up.
These are really simple to use.
I always like to say when people ask me that, I'm like, it's like a desktop printer on steroids.
But easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, number 2.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Next statement.
Okay.
You're going to like this one because
All right,
you just
all right.
kind of referred to it a little bit there.
What's
It's
that?
really hard to load paper, and I will always get paper jams.
All right, so obviously I didn't know these ahead of time, so paper was something I would have probably brought up the last one. But yes, with loading paper into our printers, you load it onto the spindle, you drop it into the printer, all right? You install it in the printer, you close the door, and you can simply walk away. It's just that simple. What's happening as you're walking away, grabbing your cup of coffee, heading back to your desk, it'll automatically load the paper into the printer. It'll automatically detect the paper type and the paper length. It can also detect how thick the paper is. So for example, I know you guys sell 170, a 200, a 240, probably a 260, a 280, a 300 GSM, glossy photo papers. It can automatically detect the difference in those surfaces from different manufacturers, completely automated. Even automatically recognize non-Canon papers that are manufactured by LexJet. So
Awesome.
yeah,
So
fully automatic.
total myth then.
Total myth.
Okay.
It's probably the easiest of any device to ever load paper in.
Okay. You're going to like this one because you
Okay,
kind of
all right.
referenced this one on the first as
All
well.
right, there we go.
Print heads constantly clog and are expensive to replace.
Yeah. So the nice part is there is no expense at all. You don't have to have a technician come on site to replace a print head in any Canon large format printer. And as far as installation goes, it takes you longer to physically take the print head out of the box than it does install inside the printer. And what I mean by that is once you take it out of the box, you have one door, flip the other door, drop it in, close the two, and walk away. Obviously you need to have some paper installed so it does the print head alignment, and most likely the paper's already installed in the machine. But as far as user interaction, minute or two to get it out of the box, 10 seconds to drop it in the printer, all the rest of the magic just automatically happens with head alignments and inking the printer up. So very, very simple to do. No service technician required. So you're just buying the part, and that's it. And they last a long time. They come with a 1-year warranty. And and some of my clients, they can never have downtime. And so they'll put an extra print head on the shelf. And the nice part is, even if that print head's been sitting on the shelf for 3.5 years, and all of a sudden the machine goes down, that warranty with the new print head starts the day you put it in. So you never have to worry about having something on the shelf and the warranty running out.
So it doesn't have an expiration date while it's sitting on the shelf. It's
Nope.
not a Best Buy date. It's
Nope.
ready to rock and roll when
There's
you
not
install.
even a date on it.
Perfect. All right. Next statement.
Okay.
Truth or fiction?
Okay. The last one's false, by the way. All right,
Fiction.
yeah,
Okay.
fiction, yeah.
Gotcha. I will never get the colors to look like they do on my screen.
Well, if you're like me, you probably have the same problem. So I'm getting a little bit older, so I like my screen nice and bright so I can see and read everything really, really well. And so, I think a lot of times what people don't understand is there's tools out there from amazing tools from a few different manufacturers. One of the tools I use is from X-Rite, and you can actually calibrate your monitor. And you'd be amazed just how dark your monitor really is to have it properly calibrated. It's about half brightness. So, brighter is darker, which a lot of people don't realize looks too dark. The brighter your screen is, the darker your images are going to look if you're trying to do editing. So highly encourage people to calibrate their monitors. One of the things that's nice about the Canon printers is you can actually calibrate those using Canon medias. And so it'll give you a very accurate color reproduction from printer to printer. So, yes, it is fiction. You can get very, very accurate color from our machines. It does require some additional tools to help ensure what you're looking on the screen is as close as you can get with the output on the printer.
All right. Funny thing.
Sure.
Your answer. I love how your answers are setting up the next question.
All right.
I never know when to calibrate and what paper to calibrate to.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So if I'm a professional photographer and there's certain artwork that I do for clients on a regular basis, maybe it's a sundown scene or the northern lights or some beautiful image that I sell on a regular basis, I would probably calibrate my machine prior to printing maybe the next set of prints out. That whole process of calibration just uses a tiny bit of ink, takes about 10 minutes, and it brings the machine back to perfect state. The other thing that's really great about color calibration, it does a complete testing of every single nozzle on that printhead. So it's actually performing maintenance on that printhead. So if, for example, you're getting towards the end of life with that printhead, you're wanting to do a color calibration to your printer, it'll automatically detect any nozzles that aren't firing properly anymore. It'll actually map around it. We can actually change the pitch and the angle of the other nozzles around that. So we have over 18,000 nozzles in our printer. So it is fiction. So you can actually calibrate these things really quickly. And the more you calibrate, the more accurate your prints are going to be. But the types of paper that I love to use is typically like a glossy or a luster. Satins will work. I tell folks we've got probably a half a dozen different medias in which you can use in a variety of thicknesses. Find one media that you're going to sell on a regular basis or want to offer it on a regular basis to people, because at the end of the day, I might like satin, you might like luster, this person might like metallic, this one might like semi-gloss. It's a personal preference, but find one you'll find that's common. Lusters are great, glossies are fine. Just find that one media from Canon, keep that on hand all the time, and use that to calibrate. Calibration is not something you need to do a whole lot, but I would probably do it at least once a month. If I'm selling prints on my printer, it's such a quick, easy thing to do.
Should they consider calibrating with matte papers if they print on matte papers?
No, it doesn't matter. So that's a great question, right? So Canon, we know the white point of that paper, and so it kind of looks at that factor. And so, again, kind of going back to I talked about media, we can automatically detect the surface of that material. So it knows everything about that paper, and so it'll automatically compensate. And it's always best to use one of our fine papers. You can calibrate with a matte paper if you had to, but I would tend to use a higher grade glossy photo paper.
So it's going to calibrate on that paper, and then it's going to take that information and say, okay, here's how I need to adjust for all these different types based on that baseline.
Yeah, because basically what's happening is you have different ICC profiles for different medias. We're not talking about ICCs. We're just trying to bring that printer back to a baseline. And here's how it should be printing. Here's how much ink should be putting down in these different boxes. And so that's what it's looking at. It's really looking at ink density, which helps your profiles work perfectly.
Okay, you talked about ink density and how much ink I should put down.
Yeah.
Next statement. Okay. Ink is a lot of O's, so expensive.
Wow, that's interesting. When you take a look at with large format printers, you're kind of buying, we offer up to 700 milliliter ink cartridges. So you're kind of buying ink by the barrel, for lack of a better term, right? And so the cost of ink is really pretty inexpensive with large format printers. unlike your desktop printer, which is significantly more. So I think people just need to kind of do the math. It feels expensive because you're buying so much of it, but if you were to buy, the same amount of milliliters of ink, it would be probably 3 to 5 times the cost in the smaller cartridges. So it's all relative. So you believe it or not, it feels like it's expensive, but it's much less than you realize.
Well, and you've got this tool accounting manager,
Yeah,
and when you run
great.
it, the
Thanks,
cost
Pete.
of paper versus ink. Talk about that.
Yeah, so one of the things you'll find is we actually have a software tool called Accounting Manager. So Accounting Manager is a tool in which a lot of professional photographers love to use, because now they start to get a sense for this ink coverage, what it's going to cost them. And so Accounting Manager basically will tell you exactly how much ink that you're using in total milliliters, to a thousandth of a milliliter. Right to a thousandth of a cent what it costs you to make that print. And so what's really great about that, I've done a lot of analysis in this area, and I would say we use about 0.7 milliliters, so less than a milliliter of ink per square foot. So if you were kind of do the math, right, we're about, I'm not great with our costing, but do the math. Maybe it's something you can kind of provide to folks in kind of a clip here to let them see that it's really super inexpensive.
Oh yeah, there's so much information right on the screen. I mean, it's like you and I had a debate for years whether it was a thousandth of a penny or a thousandth of a dollar, and of course, as usual, you were right. I'm admitting it on camera. You were right. It's a thousandth of a penny. But the amount of detail is pretty spectacular.
It's great,
so right there in the numbers, it shows you actually spend more on paper than ink. It's just that when you buy paper, you're buying one roll of paper that lasts a week, a month, however much you're printing. But that ink could last you a year or whatever.
Absolutely.
So it's just how much it lasts. Okay.
Yep.
So still on ink and paper.
Okay, gotcha.
When I change ink, there's always wasted ink in the cartridge.
Okay. So hopefully with Canon, you're not having any wasted ink in your cartridges. I think that's really important. We don't actually draw ink from the cartridge in our Canon printers. So if you have a Canon large format printer, we never actually draw the ink personally when we're printing to the device from the actual ink cartridge. We have a reservoir. We call it a sub-tank, right? That's our term. But it's kind of a reservoir inside the printer. So we fill that reservoir from the ink cartridge. And once we fill that sub-tank up, we actually draw ink from there. So the advantage to that is you could actually have, in fact, I do demos all the time of our products with completely empty ink cartridges in the machine. And you can still print the device. The only time you have to, put a new ink cartridge in is when your reservoir, your sub-tank has been depleted, and then you're required. But what's great is if you feel any ink at all in your Canon ink cartridge, please do not throw it away. Do not replace it. Run it completely dry, and you'll be able to use every droplet. And as for Isaac Newton, gravity, right? We have our ink cartridges straight up and down, so it's in a great spot, so you can automatically drain all the ink out of it.
Okay, so there's two indicators on a printer. There's a yellow exclamation and a red X. Tell me the difference between the yellow. This is a test for you.
Yeah, no.
There's going to be grades later.
Yeah.
What's the difference between the yellow exclamation and the red X?
Yeah, so the yellow exclamation will start warning you about 20% when you get down to 20% less ink in your cartridge. And it'll still continue once you're completely empty in that cartridge. You can have 0 ink, you'll still have a yellow marker, right? There'll be 0 ink. The red X means you're done. You're not printing anymore. You've depleted your sub-tank, and you have to put an ink cartridge in now to print in the future.
So how often do you hear somebody saying, as soon as I saw the yellow exclamation, I threw the ink out and put a new one in?
If I know them, they're not doing that. But I do hear from time to time people, replacing them prematurely. And it's just education, right? And I know that one thing that's great about LexJet is your guys know the answer to all these questions, and they can provide, really good answers to your customers.
Okay. Another good one.
Okay.
Same line.
Okay.
When my printer runs out of ink in the middle of a job, it ruins my print.
Oh, wow. So in reality, you should never, ever run out of ink when printing to our devices. So because you can print probably 50 to 100, 24 by 36 full coverage photos before you'd ever have to replace an ink cartridge. So, once you start getting that yellow mark, you got 20% less, it's time to order an ink cartridge, okay? And more than likely, you'll have that ink cartridge next day, and you'll still be printing for another month before you're required to put that in, because it's still a lot of ink left in that cartridge, especially if you have a 700 milliliter ink cartridge in like one of our professional series printers. So you got plenty of time. Order that ink cartridge only as needed, and you're ready to go. So
it won't even let you start a print if there's not enough ink to print. It will.
That's correct.
It will basically, that yellow exclamation, as long as that's there.
That's right.
Anything you start printing, it's not going to stop in the middle of that print.
That's correct.
So there's no way for it to stop in the middle, and now you see a line of demarcation. Canon
That's
printers
correct.
won't let you do that.
That's right.
Okay. Here we go. Next one. Still on ink. Imagine that. It's a popular topic.
Yep, I get it.
I don't want to switch ink every time I have to change from matte to gloss black.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. This is, at one time there were printers on the market that had to switch and drain the lines, that type of thing. We've always, with Canon printers, have 2 separate channels in the print head for both matte black and photo black. And frankly, one of my favorite things about our printers, I love about, especially even like printing on plain paper, is we can use photo black only on plain paper, matte black only on plain paper, and also photo black and matte black. So let me explain something about why we do all 3. So if you're doing like an outdoor banner, as we talked about before, we're always going to use photo black for outdoor banners. So our water resistant outdoor banners, those medias are designed to go outdoors. For those medias, we're going to use a photo black ink because it is the most smudge resistant and most water resistant of any ink that we offer. Matte black and photo black is used a lot of times for certain fine art medias. It's going to give you a little better black ink density where you have a greater absorption rate, right, into those medias. So you can kind of use both together, those kind of combine. So, what's interesting is if you were to look at our plain paper settings, we call it plain paper, then we call it plain paper instant dry, which is photo black only. Then we also call it plain paper quick dry, which is using a combination of photo black and matte black. So it helps you understand that the drying is a little bit quicker if you're using photo black and matte black, and it's instant if you're using photo black only. So the matte black is really designed solely just for matte papers, and the properties is going to give you really amazing black density on matte coated papers. So I hope that helps answer the question.
So everything's in there. You don't have to switch anything.
That's right.
You don't have to throw any ink away.
Absolutely
You're ready to go. Okay.
Long-winded question, but
no, it's a good one.
Again is
okay.
Yeah.
Another statement.
Okay.
I get a weird gloss differential on glossy papers.
Yeah. So this is a common issue. It's probably one of the most common issues that people complain about. We did a segment recently on photographers and wedding photography. One of the most often taken photos in the U.S. each and every day is the bride and groom. The groom's in his black tux, the bride's in her white gown, and that's the perfect example, right, of kind of gloss ink saturation differences. So, no matter who manufactures the paper, it's kind of a resin coated, photo-based material. And basically what happens when you put a lot more pigment in one section of the surface and almost no pigment in the white area, you're going to sometimes see a gloss differentiation. And what's really great, and this is what has helped Canon to be so successful in the wedding and photography market and just the photo printing market in general, is we have a great technology called Chroma Optimizer. So Chroma Optimizer, when being applied to the surface of that material, it helps eliminate that gloss differentiation. And so when you take a look at putting that Chroma Optimizer down, it will help eliminate, some people call it bronzing, or it's really kind of a gloss differentiation because so much pigment being put down in one area and almost none being put down in the other area. So you can do it a couple of ways. You can put Chroma Optimizer down the entire sheet, or you can just do it where you're physically printing. And that's usually what I recommend. Leave it on auto. And you're going to have absolutely amazing results with Chroma Optimizer.
Perfect. Okay.
One thing to notate, though, Chroma Optimizer is only used in high and highest mode. If you're printing in like standard or usually standard mode, because most medias, we don't allow for like draft mode on photo-based medias. So standard mode, it's a way to eliminate, and some people do want to turn it off.
Okay. So back to the bride and groom scenario, just so people understand gloss differential, because this person clearly knew what they were asking
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
making a statement toward. So this is a scenario where you're seeing an area where there's little to no ink in an area where it's white, right beside an area where there's the black tuxedo, like you said,
Yep.
where there's a lot of ink. And the way the light hits that print in an area where there's no ink, right beside an area where there is ink, it's going to reflect light very differently, and it almost looks like something's missing or something's wrong.
Yeah,
Is that kind of a good way?
Yeah, no, it's just it's a resin coated photo paper, right? And so as you put more pigment down in that area, it changes the properties a little bit. And so the way that, just like you said, the light reflects, it people will see kind of a gloss differential. And some people, it looks more of matte finish, and that's what Chroma Optimizer does. It helps literally eliminate that.
So the Chroma Optimizer is kind of a clear ink, basically.
That's exactly what it is. It's kind of a clear ink, and it really does an amazing job of providing and almost eliminating that gloss differentiation you'll see.
Now, I know people are going to ask this question, and it wasn't on here, but
Yeah.
does the Chroma Optimizer offer any kind of scratch resistance or anything? Because
No,
everybody always
no,
asks all these
it's such
things.
a great question, and it does. It does provide for, one of the things that people loved about traditional photo labs is it looked like the ink and the paper were one, right? And a little more scratch resistance and fingerprint resistance. And so that Chroma Optimizer does help with fingerprints. It also helps with scratch resistance. So it does provide for greater durability. And I'm glad you brought that question up, because that's something I should have mentioned. And to me, Chroma Optimizers is the biggest game changer we came out with the Pro Series. And people love to print on photo-based papers, and it only affects really maybe a small percentage of the prints where you have that really high gloss photo papers where you have light colors and dark colors kind of really close to each other, and that's where you tend to see it.
And there's two Pro Series, just to be clear. Which
Absolutely.
one does it have? One has it, one doesn't.
Yeah,
so I want to make
correct.
sure we're clear.
So we have two Pro Series. We have the 8 ink and we have the 12 ink. So really, in a sense, we're 11 inks plus Chroma Optimizer. The 8 ink basically does not have Chroma Optimizer.
Okay, so if you're looking for Chroma Optimizer, you want to get the Pro Series without the S at the end of the
That's
number.
correct. Yep.
And that has your 12 inks,
Yes.
11 colors.
Yeah. And we should probably have a discussion about the differences at another time, the difference between all the printers.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a follow-up on all the different printer options for you as well. Okay, next one. You're going to like this one.
Okay.
I can only use Canon papers on Canon printers.
Well, one of the things that Canon provides is an amazing tool. First of all, let's ignore the tool, right? One of the things in real life, there's only so many paper manufacturers that are really out there, and you guys know that very well. And so what's nice is you can actually turn on where it automatically detects the paper type. So when you load, let's say, a non-Canon media, media from one of our competitors, and drop that into the printer, you can automatically let it detect what it thinks is the closest media to it, right? And so that's one of the biggest benefits of that automatically detecting. So I don't have to say, I think it should be this, let the printer automatically detect that. But what I love about LexJet, and this is probably the reason why so many people do business with you, is we offer a software tool called Media Configuration Tool. And Media Configuration Tool allows LexJets to go in and actually set up all of their medias. And I don't know if you do every media, but probably almost the vast majority of all your medias
Most of them, yeah.
are set up where you can actually go and download. It's a .amx file. I'm not going to get into the technical terms with you, but you'll go to their download sections and you go to media types, and you'll see the different printers, and they will include the custom ICC profile and the media information, where it literally goes and says it's a 2-inch core, it's a 3-inch core, it's this thick. They'll put all those properties in there, and they'll do all that setup. We use a media configuration tool for you automatically to give you unbelievable results. So when you're buying media from LexJet, you can rest assured that they've done all the heavy lifting and making sure that media is perfectly set up to work with Canon large format printers.
Perfect. All right, I think we're getting down to, we have 4 more left. So
Okay.
we're getting down to the nitty gritty.
Some tough questions here.
You'll like this one.
All right.
This
good.
is in your sweet spot.
All right.
I can't print outdoor banners on a Canon printer.
Oh, wow, yeah. That's actually a common misnomer. One of the things that's nice that I kind of talked a little about before, because we have the photo black ink, we do have water-resistant medias, you as well. There's a lot of different great medias that are designed for outdoors, for aqueous printers. In fact, Canon guarantees that for up to 6 months outdoors with some of our medias, and I know your medias will hold up that as well. And I think Canon tends to be very conservative with that.
Definitely.
So, and it's, as you know, it's hard to get a scrim vinyl banner to last more than 6 months outdoors just due to winds and weather. It's kind of a vinyl product, they break down. But yeah, you can definitely.
Yeah, I think I've seen that a lot of times it's the media that will fail before the ink does. The paper's starting to fall apart from the weathering.
Exactly.
But you can still see what's on it. So
Yeah.
it's definitely true.
Yeah.
So it's a definitely false statement, true, that Canon can print on.
So we can definitely do outdoor banners. People do all the time.
Okay. These three I love because they're
Okay.
kind of related. Once I buy my printer, I'll be all on my own.
Yeah. Well, one thing that's nice about with Canon is and LexJet, frankly, you guys provide amazing support. But one of the things that Canon realized early on, it is different, right? The technology is different. We provide a huge variety of softwares for the end user to be able to simplify that process of printing. So most importantly, Canon offers an 800 number. It's 800-423-2366. And they're available from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to answer your questions. And it's US based. And the nice part, Pete, let's say your machine's been discontinued from Canon. We offer phone support for your printer while it's under warranty, while it's out of warranty, and we'll even support you up to 5 years after it's discontinued. So Canon does an amazing job of making sure you have the support you need now and after you've made your purchase.
So I'm going to switch orders because you kind of just answered this one. My printer's out of warranty. I can't get support anymore.
Yeah.
So you just answered that.
Yeah. What's nice too is, let's say, for example, it is out of warranty. Canon will actually tell you what it would cost to fix it, and then we'll send a service technician on site. It'll help you to resolve the issues, and you can make a decision at that time. I want to repair it, or I want to buy something new, it's really great. And again, they'll do everything they can to make sure they get that machine back up and running for you.
All right, this is the last one, and this is the true value add, I think, right here.
Okay.
I don't want to pay just to get basic answers to my questions. So how much does it cost them to use that 1-800 number?
Yeah, so it's free. I mean, that's the nice part with Canon. And again, US based. And that's really important. We all have called the hotlines, and one of the things I sometimes will do when I'm doing a product demonstration, I'll pull my cell phone out, I'll call 800-423-2366 during a demo. I'm probably the biggest prank caller to our support line of anybody in the nation. So it just goes to show you can get through right away. You almost never put on hold. We have a center in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we also have a center in Chesapeake, Virginia. So just in case there's a natural disaster, we have backup.
Dave, I hope you enjoyed this segment. This is the first time we've done this.
This was fun. This was fun.
If you have questions or statements that you'd like to see addressed, we'll do this again because these are all things that have either come from the viewers or statements that we've heard on the phone lines or at trade shows and things like this. If you enjoyed this, drop some comments in the comments below and let us know kind of the things that you've seen or heard, things that you'd like addressed, so we can do this again in the future. This was kind of a fun experiment, so hopefully you enjoy this.
Yeah. Thanks,
Dave, thanks as always.
Thank you.
You're always fantastic, great information. Thank you for joining us.
You.
If you have any questions, call your customer representative at 1-800-4LexJet, and don't forget to visit LexJet.com.